Okay, welcome in. I'm just going to take a quick review for Monday's action from the National Hockey League. There are only 4 games on tap, so this video shouldn't take too terribly long. Starting in Buffalo, as we had the Sabres who played host to the Edmonton Oilers. Tage Thompson would kick things off in the first, getting his 32nd goal of the season unassisted, 13:28 of the first period. I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of those throwbacks that the Sabres have with those black uniforms and the white buffalo on the front. I think that's huge. And if they were decided to bring that back as a full-time jersey, I would be a huge fan. And by all means, I'm not a Buffalo Sabres fan at all. So in the second, Darnell Nurse would tie the game up at 1, getting his 5th goal of the year, assisted by Troy Stetcher and Leon Draisaitl. 1:35 of the second frame. A one-time shot by Darnell Nurse tied the game up at 1. Staying in the second period, 3:52 into the frame, Alex Tuch would regain the lead for the Buffalo Sabres, making that his 25th goal of the season, assisted by Ryan McLeod, who played against his former team. So big goal there for the Sabres, putting them up ahead 2-1. Evan Bouchard would tie the game up in the second, getting his 12th of the season on the power play from Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. 9 minutes and 12 seconds into the second period. So the Boosh bomb tied the game up at 2 in the second period. In the third, Tage Thompson would break the tie, getting his 2nd goal of the game, his 33rd goal of the year, assisted by Josh Norris. 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the third, and that would end up being the game-winning goal. So a huge goal there for the Buffalo Sabres, and they would hang on to the lead. 3-2 would be the final score. The next game took place in Ottawa as we had 2 teams battling for that final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference as the Senators played host to the Detroit Red Wings. In the first period, David Perron would score against one of his former teams, putting the Sens on top 1-0. 7:39 of the second period. For Perron, that'd be his 4th goal of the year on the power play, assisted by Claude Giroux. It was a nice little wrist shot by David Perron. Good to see him getting a few goals. Early in the third, Dylan Larkin would tie the game up at 1, getting his 27th goal of the year, assisted by Lucas Raymond. 2:58 of the third period. Late in the third period, the Sens had a power play. Dylan Cousins will get his first goal as a member of the Ottawa Senators. That'd be his 12th goal of the season, assisted by Jake Sanderson and Brady Tkachuk. 14:56 of the third frame. So huge goal for the Sens, putting them up 2-1. They would hang on to win 2-1 as the final score. And if you're a Red Wings fan, I'm sure you're absolutely heartbroken by the end of the game because they did score at the end of the game, but because the clock said 0.0 and the puck was still not across the goal line, the game unfortunately ended in a 2-1 finish. So had there been even half a second left on the clock, the Red Wings could have tied it up and sent it to overtime, but unfortunately it was not meant to be. All right, now we're off to the Central Division as we have the Colorado Avalanche playing host to the Chicago Blackhawks. There's no scoring in the first two periods. We have to go all the way to the third to get our first goal, as our Terry Lehkonen would open up the scoring for the Avalanche, getting his 27th goal of the year, assisted by Devin Tays and Nathan McKinnon. Okay, so instead of showing you the clip, I'll just show this again. I seem to be having a bit of a problem when it comes to trying to upload actual clips. So, staying in the third, Martin Necas would get his 22nd goal of the year from Nathan McKinnon, increasing the lead to 2-0, 3:27 of the third. And then late in the third, with just under a minute to go, Chicago pulled their goalie. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be, as Joel Kiviranta would get the empty net goal, his 14th of the season. So the Avalanche would shut out the Blackhawks 3-0. All right, now we're off to Utah as they played a game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. William Nylander would give Toronto an early 1-0 lead on a power play goal from Mitch Marner and Matthew Knies, 12:42 of the first period. Cal Yarncroke would get a power play goal himself, assisted by Max Domi and Morgan Riley, and that goal happened with 22 seconds to go in the first, so the Leafs had a 2-0 lead heading into the second. Simon Benoit would get his first goal of the year from David Kampf and Holmberg, 4:48 of the second period, giving the Leafs a 3-0 lead. Michael Carcone would finally cut into the lead, putting Utah up on the score sheet. For Carcone, that'd be his 6th goal of the year from Josh Doan and McBain, 8:14 of the second period. Nick Schmaltz would cut the lead down to 3-2, getting his 15th of the year from Ole Mata and Clayton Keller, 9:03 of the second period. Barrett Hayton would tie the game up 12 minutes and 11 seconds of the second, getting his 17th goal of the year, assisted by Sergachev and Genther. The game would need to be solved in the extra frame. No scoring in the overtime frame. We had to go to a shootout, and Mitch Marner would end up getting the game-winning goal for the Maple Leafs. All right, so now take a look at the standings in the wild card position. So I'm just going to, as usual, scroll this on back and then get just the wins, losses, overtime losses, and the point totals so far. So the Florida Panthers are still in first place in the Atlantic Division with a record of 40-21-3. They had 83 points. The Toronto Maple Leafs, after the win, they just trail Florida by 2 points. They have a record of 39-42-3. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are just 3 points behind Toronto. They have a record of 37-22-4. They have 78 points. The Washington Capitals are still sitting comfortably on top of the Metropolitan Division with a record of 42-14-8. They have 92 points. The Hurricanes are in second place with a record of 38-22-4. They have 80 points. The New Jersey Devils are in third place. They have a record of 34-25-6. They have 74 points. And the two teams in the wild card, Ottawa has now leapfrogged Columbus for the first wild card spot. They have a record of 33-25-5. They have 71 points. And the Columbus Blue Jackets have 70 points with a record of 31-24-8. We'll take a look at the rest of the Eastern Conference standings. See if I can have them right about there. So now you can see the top two teams in the wild card and the rest of the teams that are chasing for a spot. So the New York Rangers find themselves 2 points behind Columbus with a record of 31-27-6. The Montreal Canadiens find themselves 4 points behind Columbus with a record of 30-27-6. The Detroit Red Wings have a record of 30-28-6. They also have 66 points. And the Boston Bruins have a record of 29-28-8. They also have 66 points. You have 3 teams rated by 4 points, respectively. The New York Islanders are 29-27-7. They have 65 points on the year. Philadelphia has a record of 27-30-8. They have 62 points. The Pittsburgh Penguins have a record of 25-31-10. They have 60 points. And the Buffalo Sabres have a record of 25-32-6. They have 56 points. All right, now we're off to the Western Conference. The Winnipeg Jets are basically tied with Washington for the best record in the National Hockey League with a record of 44-17-4. The Dallas Stars are 6 points behind them with a record of 42-20-2. They have 86 points. And the Colorado Avalanche are 39-24-2. They have 80 points. The Vegas Golden Knights are still in first place in that division, in the Pacific at least, with a record of 38-19-6. They have 82 points. The Edmonton Oilers are 4 points behind the Golden Knights with a record of 37, 23, and 4. And the Los Angeles Kings find themselves 3 points behind Edmonton. They have a record of 33, 20, and 9. They have 75 points. Two teams in the wild card look just like so. The Minnesota Wild have a record of 36, 24, and 4. They have 76 points on the year. Calgary Flames are in the second wildcard spot with a record of 30, 23, and 10. And they have 70 points so far. All right, the Vancouver Canucks find themselves narrowly on the outside looking in with a record of 30, 23, and 10. 29, 23, and 11 for the Canucks. They're 1 point out of a playoff spot. The St. Louis Blues have the same amount of points. Their record, however, is just slightly different with a record of 31, 27, and 7. The Utah Hockey Club are 28, 25, and 11. They have 67 points. The Anaheim Ducks are 7 points back. They have a record of 28, 28, and 7. And the Seattle Kraken are 27, 34, and 4. They have 58 points. Nashville, I can't say enough negative things about them. They have a record of 24, 32, and 7. They have 55 points. They're 15 points behind the Flames, which is unreal. The Chicago Blackhawks are 20, 36, and 9. They have 49 points. And the San Jose Sharks are 17, 39, and 9. They have 43 points. All right, that's going to take care of this recap from Monday's action of the National Hockey League. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative as well. Until next time, and as always, take care.